Guys, thanks for joining me again. I am bringing you another commentary video of Medan Assault Squad. This map is a new map that is coming out in the DLC that is soon to be released by DMS. So if you're a fan of Medan Assault Squad, I definitely recommend you check it out. I got a chance to play these maps for a little while and I really enjoyed them. I found them to be well balanced and definitely conducive to multiplayer play. So right away, I've decided to bring up a Jeep. None of us have played this map before, so this is kind of an interesting situation. However, I noticed that it's a large map, so the Jeeps are usually pretty good on large maps because you can get to positions before your enemy can set up sandbag defenses. So I'm fortunate and I managed to catch SirScorpian's infantry out in the open, killing a bunch of them, and I see his light machine gunner running away here. I really don't want that to happen because he's the only soldier in the squad that's a real threat to my Jeep. So I make sure to run him down. I've also brought up a BAR to kind of support the Jeep and to reinforce the flag. I know that there's a light machine gun that was just dropped by his soldier up there, so I hop a guy out of the Jeep to go grab that. I do it for two reasons. I know that SirScorpian really likes to take these LMGs and pick them up and reuse them, so I'm denying him that chance, as well as getting a light machine gun for myself. So, using some of the single bot soldiers here, I set up defenses in the form of sandbags and bring up a bazooka, expecting him to bring up some sort of vehicle to counter my Jeep. So, I don't want to ever just be sitting, so I decided to try and push this flag. However, just as I'm about to, my ally asked me to come and assist him. So I send the Jeep to do so. I see that Medan here has set up his sandbags in a way that my Jeep can kill his infantry, since the sandbags will offer him no protection. So I send in the Jeep, and I'm able to kill a couple infantry right here, as well as his light machine gunner. Pretty good victory for a Jeep. So, here comes my bazooka guy, and my enemy has brought up another vehicle. It is a Panzer 1. You don't see many of these. I was expecting a 222, but I'm not complaining. So my standard response to a Panzer 1 is almost always a half-track, because they're about the same price, and the half-track is useful throughout the game, without taking up too much CP. So I decided to go ahead and bring up a half-track, as well as some conscripts. If you've lost all your infantry, you always need to make sure you have some out in the field, just to provide vision. Conscripts are great for this. So, in comes my half-track. I'm going to try to get him from the side here, however, I'm too far away, so I have to get closer. The Panzer 1 has about 8 or 9 millimeters armor, and he manages to decrew one of my guys here. However, I run around, and his turret can't move as fast as my half-track, so I'm able to kill him, as well as this guy that was just watching it all happen, apparently. So, up come my conscripts to reinforce my half-track, as well as another squad of rifles. I like using a lot of infantry, so I call in infantry at times that I probably shouldn't have, and this is definitely one of those times. As you will soon see. So my half-track's been reloaded with another guy, and he's brought up a 222 here, which I don't have a good counter for, because I just bought rifles, I don't have a whole lot of cash, and the half-track is not going to do well against it at any sort of decent range. So I'm in quite a predicament here, honestly. I decided to run my rifles away to make sure that they don't get killed, while keeping a few behind here so I can create kind of a back layer of defenses. When I inevitably do get pushed off my flag, these will be useful. So, my driver gets stuck on the hill here and my half-track dies pretty quickly. I was hoping I could run it away. However, that doesn't work out too well. And this bazooka attempt doesn't work out too well. But, as you might have seen in some of my other videos, picking up heavy weapons is always a good idea if you can. So, I'm down a half-track, I've got some rifles and some sandbags, and that's about it right now. It's going to be difficult for me to retake this flag without something heavy. So I decided to get a Stuart. The Stuart's going to be a great counter for this 222, and I don't think he's going to have any sort of quick vehicle after it, because he's already lost a decent amount. So forward comes the Stuart. However, it takes a while to get there, and in the meantime he's able to push up most of my infantry off this flag here and decap it successfully. At this point he notices my Stuart coming and does the smart thing, which is to run away. The 222 does not have a good chance to kill the Stuart at all, because frontally it cannot penetrate it. So I run forward to try to push him off the flag and to make sure that I can clean up any infantry here with the remnants of my rifle squad. So I noticed that he's run pretty far away. I don't quite understand why at the time. I think he's just running for my 222 to make sure he doesn't lose it. So I decided to send my Stuart to the middle. It's always good, if possible, to support your allies with vehicles. Especially if they're having some sort of issue with a specific vehicle that their opponent has brought up. So I know he has a 222 over here, so I send my Stuart in to try and kill the 222. However, I feel like I can't micro both, so I try to give it to Hartman to micro for me. However, as you can hear, he's not too happy about that. So he gives it back to me, and I decide to run it over to the left again, because I'm probably going to need it over here in a couple seconds. In the meantime, I'm setting up more defenses. It's always good to use sandbags when you have them. Even if you don't need them right now, you might need them later, so set them up. I'm trying to catch this 222 at a good angle, however I'm unsuccessful, so I decided to run my Stuart back over here because he has his 222 shooting at my infantry. So in comes the Stuart. I don't expect that he's going to have any counter to the Stuart this quickly, so I kind of just run it in here, hoping that these hills will protect me. Here I am turning to face this 222, and unfortunately for my Stuart, there is a Pack 40 up there. SirScorpian putting it up on the hill, which I definitely didn't expect. Even though it has a good vantage point, he's brought it so close that had he missed or only partially damaged my Stuart, he would have been in a bad position. However, since he didn't miss, I am now in the bad position. I didn't even kill the 222 that the Stuart was intended to kill. So they're going to be able to push most of my infantry off of this flag here, and leaving me kind of screwed, to be honest. I do have some points, however I don't have a lot of points. I cannot afford a jumbo. I cannot afford a heavy tank that's going to be able to kill this Pack 40. So it leaves me with a couple options. I can try to run a tank in there and try to AP it and then HE round it. However, against a Pack 40, a Sherman doesn't have great odds. So I decided to take another approach. I buy an M8, which is one of the one-point hero units that the Americans get. It's basically a 75mm howitzer. I also plan to buy a Croc. I noticed that these rocks are right here in this area, so I'm hoping that I can use these rocks to move my Croc forward to keep his 222 away while my M8 shoots at his pack and kills it. Or at least disables it, so my Croc can kill it. In addition, I'm bringing up some partisans and a squad of rangers. Or riflemen, rather, and rangers. Here I am, making sure that my flanks are clear, using some of the riflemen. You can see Scorp is already pushing up as far as he can, and that's the indication of a good player. You always want to push as far as your opponent lets you, if possible. So here I am, using my crocodile behind the rocks, as well as some infantry to kind of clear out this area. Hopefully I'll be able to use my M8 there. So I'm kind of dividing up my rangers. I always do this when I buy a squad of rangers if I have the time. You want to single out the riflemen, or excuse me, the light machine gunners and the rocket launchers, just so they don't get used in a bad way. Basically, you shouldn't use those guys to cap flags or put them in unnecessary risk. So after quite a delay here, I'm finally in a position to attack again. I've got my M8 and Crocodile in forward positions, however, they're still not within range of what I need to kill. So I move my Crocodile up to the second bunch of rocks here, using it as protection against the Pack 40, which is already shooting at it. And I noticed that in my minimap. So I've got the infantry covering here. I'm just making sure that it doesn't have any guys hidden around this area. They're going to grenade my M8. Meanwhile, my Crocodile providing some fire support. So I'm moving my M8 howitzer in position. I'm kind of getting it. I know he's somewhere on this plateau right here. So I begin to log some shells. And fortunately, luckily, on the first hit, I find his Pack 40 and kill it. Definitely a very lucky shot. So now I know that there's probably going to be nothing that can counter my Sherman. So I begin to use it to push this flag right here. Here I use the built-in Zippo feature to clear out this flag for my own infantry, as well as bring forward a half-track. Whenever I play, I like to have some certain units out all the time if I can. That's at least a squad of infantry and a half-track. I like to hide the half-tracks behind hills, etc. It just really helps preventing pushes and it makes the enemy spend. Here I push this half-track up and I'm able to catch one of his vet snipers out of position, and I kill him pretty quickly. As well, I'm pushing infantry up on these left flanks here. I don't want him to be able to exploit this, and I want to keep it open for my own exploitation. As you can see, I have infantry pushing forward as far as I think I can. And I notice that he has a Flak 88, so I try to run both my vehicles over behind this hill, but I am unsuccessful. He catches the side of my Sherman Crocodile and kills it instantly. So I know that he's probably going to push in some sort of vehicle right now, so I start setting up my rockets in good positions. The recoilless rifles that the Rangers get are very effective weapons. However, whatever you are killing needs to be within 40 yards. So here I've brought forth another squad of Rangers. Since he's brought up another AT gun, I'm going to keep on getting Rangers, since elite infantry is a decent counter to AT weapons. Specialized AT weapons. Whether that be a heavy tank destroyer or something else. So he's brought forward a 222, which I was definitely expecting, and my first shot with a recoilless rifle misses. But my second shot hits. Rangers are very deadly accurate with these recoilless rifles. Even though they don't have the best penetration, they're very good against light vehicles. So, just because the bullet itself travels so quickly. So here I'm hiding some more Rangers behind this hill here, just so they're in a good position to take out any vehicles that might use to try and push me. Meanwhile, he's left himself open without any infantry cover, and I push some Rangers forward on the left flank here, and I'm able to kill his 88. So he's brought forward another Panzer I. It's not much of a threat. I have plenty of AT infantry, as well as my M8 can kill it or damage it with a good hit. However, my first recoilless rifle shot misses, but my second, with the help of the M8 stunning it, is successful. So here I am, just constantly repositioning my infantry. I need to make sure that he doesn't take that hill, as well as that I have sufficient AT infantry set up to deal with whatever vehicles he sends. So here I bring up a squad of paratroopers, as well as I am going to bring up a half-track. Having killed his 88, he doesn't have any AT out, so I guess just got another squad in the open, which is fortunate for me. And I'm going to try to push this point here, because my allies are having a difficult go of it right now. So the best thing you can do to support your allies, a lot of times, isn't to send them units and push their points with them. It's actually to push one of the back flags of the opponents. That way they have to pay attention to you, and you can take all the brunt of their efforts for a while your opponents can hopefully make some progress on their own flags. So that's what I try to do right here. I'm fortunate, and I find Medan's Pack 40 is in an unfortunate position, and I'm able to decrew it, and I intend to steal it. Hear my allies talking about how they want to counter the Hetzer. Neva is saying that he's had an unfortunate round of luck against Butcher on his flag, so he's not able to kill the Hetzer. Here I am offering the Pack 40 to my allies, however, they both decide that they don't want it for various reasons. So nobody likes my present, so I take it back to my flag, even though I don't particularly need it with all the rangers I have. So I decided to set it up here. I purchased another squad of rangers, intending to do as I said before and push this back flag. Right now we're in a bad position. We only have 2 flags, however our opponents have 5. We're definitely letting them tick up a lot of points. We need to do something to change this as soon as possible. I'm hoping that I'm going to be able to do this with the Rangers. While this push gets in position, I check out the Pack 40 that I've stolen and notice that it needs to be repaired. So I'm trying to locate some infantry, however, everybody's too mission critical. So I can't move anybody right now. In order to help out this push, I'm going to buy another half-track, just for a bit of redundancy, as well as to make them pay attention. Providing the AT for this push is going to be a ranger squad with 2 recoilless rifles. As well as I have some other recoilless rifles on this position behind this hill here, which I will bring up if I need to. The Pack 40 is out of commission. So I use these 2 half-tracks as the main components of my push. Bringing up infantry to support it. However, SirScorpian's brought up a 222, so I'm going to try to use the recoilless rifles. And fortunately, just before that guy dies, he gets off a shot that successfully kills it. However, Medan has brought up a Tiger. Tigers are really difficult for America to counter. So I'm not going to try to kill it actively right now. I'm just going to hide some recoilless rifles behind recoilless rifles behind these rocks here, to make sure he can't push up and cap the flag himself. As you can see, by pushing this back flag here, it's helped my ally take the middle flag back, because Medan is no longer able to reinforce it. Meanwhile, I decided to try to use one of my rangers to try and flank the Tiger, but I'm unsuccessful. My opponent's brought up as an Ostwind, which is going to be a pretty effective counter to my ranger heavy strategy, so I'm hoping I can use the pack I've stolen in order to make it so he can't push forward. In addition, I'm setting up some more rangers with rocket launchers behind the hill, so I can try to flank him if needed. Just making sure here that my half-track is hidden. As you can see now, that push has relieved some pressure on my allies' flanks, and so they've been able to successfully capture flags. And now we've reversed our position, so we have 5 flags, and they only have 2. Especially as America, you always want to be pushing. As soon as you stop, you lose, because Germany will get out their heavy tanks. So I'm using one of the repaired 222s that SirScorpian lost. This has been kind of a difficult game for Scorp. But you shouldn't take this as any indication, because he's beaten me so many times. We've all beaten each other so many times that it's really just game to game. Anyway, Medan's pushing forward his Tiger here, and as well as some Panzerfaust infantry, which managed to kill the 222. I decided to run forward with my bazooka guy. However, my recoilless rifle isn't powerful enough. Even though it hits, it doesn't penetrate. So I decided to bring forth another Ranger squad, mainly because my only other option was really either to bank for a Pershing, which would have taken probably another 10 minutes, or to get a jumbo right away, which isn't the best counter to a Tiger. So I decided to get some more Rangers. And I set those AT infantry up in their classic positions behind this hill here, as well as some infantry behind these sandbags to make sure that he doesn't try to push up the hill. So this is a dangerous point in the game for America, because right now our enemies are bringing out their Tigers, and we don't have the best counters to those out quite yet. So our best bet is to hold with infantry, as well as artillery support, which I'm bringing forth in the form of a 105, which Hartmann is using to great effect already. 105s are really, really good on these hilly maps with lots of cover. So I decided to try to copy him and bring forward my own 105. Here I am trying to use the Pack 40 that I captured from Medan to kill his Tiger. However, I get really unlucky. My first shot goes over the top, and my second shot goes too low. So Pack 40 didn't do me much good. No worries. So I brought forth my own 105. I have shelled the Ostman there, disabling it for a little while. Hartmann extolling the problems with having a heavy tank. Most obviously, it's that it drains all of your CP, so you can't have that much infantry after, which makes it a lot more difficult to push flags. The heavy tank really has to be the focal point of your attack. You can't just sit back with them. So I'm just making sure here that this Ostwind is disabled. Well, I'm thinking about how I'm going to try to push this flag. Making sure that my 105 isn't exposed to the Tiger. So SirScorpian bringing up a Panzer IIIJ to kill my 105. The Panzer IIIJ being a perfectly adequate counter to the 105, because the 105 has such a slow rate of fire and the J can kill it from a decent distance. So I run behind this hill here, knowing that SirScorpian will have to move forward into my AT infantry if he wants to kill my 105. In the meantime, I'm going to try to shell him. However, my first shot is unsuccessful. So I'm going to try to use this AT infantry here. And my first shot, luckily, is successful. However, right away, I expect that Medan is probably trying to flank my 105 here with his own Tiger. I notice that my suspicions are correct. So, predictably, my next call-in is another squad of Rangers. SirScorpian's decided to bring up another P3J. However, this time my first shot is successful. So I've got him in a position here where he cannot return fire. Excuse me while I take a drink. So here I am, finishing off this J and making sure that he cannot repair it. While I put my Rangers in a position for another attack on this back flag. Another P3J coming up here. This one is successful in taking out my 105, as well as the Tiger to my right hand side. As a counter to that, I decided to bring up a Sherman 76, it being the upgraded version of the other Shermans. This is a strange call-in for me. I did it because partially I was CP capped, and partially because I like this tank, and I like to try to make it work, even though it's not the best. So, using my Ranger AT infantry here, I try and disable at least this Panzer 3J that killed my 105, and my second shot is successful. It just shows how powerful Rangers are against light vehicles especially. In the meantime, I have another attack using Rangers against this back flank here. I want to try to keep this decapped, and I don't want Medan to feel like safe in the middle here, ever. If I have a goal in life, it's to make Medan not feel safe. However, he launches a Nebel Burst here, which blows up my rocket launcher that I was using to flank his Tiger. So pretty unfortunate. Meanwhile, my Sherman 76 has made it up to the front, so I'm going to try to use it to flank this Tiger. In the meantime, I'm using up my hero points for bringing up another MA. It's always a risky thing flanking with these tanks, but because by the time you shoot at them, you're well within the range. So my first shot is unsuccessful, as well as my second shot. And my third shot. So right now I'm in a really bad position, and his first shot disables my track. And his second shot kills me. So, not the best of luck for my Sherman 76. At that point, it might have well as been just a Hellcat. Would have been a better purchase for that attempt. So, I'm bringing up some more infantry just to kind of fill in my flank here, as well as keep the pressure on. At this point, our opponents are pretty much defeated. They have lost so many light vehicles and everything else that the game's basically over. So, good game to our opponents, a very fun match. Thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy the rest of the game.